Boom! The podcast you've been waiting for. The Winning Together podcast of the day. Because it's the one you listen to right now. This is Shay. Kauai Shay, Morocco Shay. That Shay I'm becoming, the coach. With my fellow ArenaTalk speaker from October, coach with a capital C, Hazel, millionaire Mason.
Hello. I'm so glad to be here with you and doing this together. It's been a long time coming, and I'm super excited.
I loved doing ArenaTalks with you.
I did too. It was badass.
We mutually agreed we would prefer our own night. And how rad is that we have put ourselves in a position, in a place where we've got capacity to give and be and love and show up and come and just change the world around us.
Yeah. It's amazing. But I think for me and you, it comes from because we're in the changing, we're in the growing, we're in it all the time, that it enables us to show up with authenticity and with honesty. And so I think it really resonates with people because those that know us know that we're in it. We're in it all the time for ourselves, right? And so when we get up there and talk about growth and doing hard things and change, I think it resonates because people see us doing it. So when we ask it of them, there's trust.
Yeah. What a powerful way and perspective to get it there. And there's radical honesty. Before we were talking with Ryan, who he's the front end guy of I'm Recovery. He's the face, and he's the great attractor. And you've over now a year, right?
Yeah.
Have become part of that great attracting team that you intake, you find, you vet, you discover, you find a way to win with people that want to win. And he was making the comment that from the top down, it's not about us. It's not about Shay Dog. It's not about Hazel or Jared or Ryan. It's about the business and the client and doing awesome. And what I did, I wanted to tell him that, but I failed to. Something, a little ritual that you and I both share is before we ever work with a client or come to a group or try and solve a problem regarding our people here at I'm Recovery, we say a little prayer.
Yeah.
And we make it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's for them, for you, and I will find that person it's about.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. I think for me, that stems from a place of sometimes I'm so overwhelmed with the need I'm facing with this client, and I don't trust my own experience or my own words, and I know that I'm only in this position I'm in because this is where God wants me. And so I just need to make sure that I'm getting so far out of his way that he can just pour through me. And that's when I see magic with these clients. So I'm praying before, as I'm driving to meet with somebody, I'm praying sometimes before I even am thinking about what we're going to meet about. And there are times over and over when, as they're speaking, I am praying, right? Give me the words. Help me to convey like your love. For me, my higher power is God. That's who it is for me. You can replace that with whatever it is for you, but I need his help all the time.
I found the same way that whatever I want out of this, if I will get out of the way and make it about you and how do we get to where you want to go? And it's just simple things like that where I can say, okay, you're working on that. Here's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
And we share this experience. And when you talk about the trust and the honesty and the transparency, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not talking about what you could do.
Or what you should do.
Boom, huge. Both of us come from families of alcoholics and alcoholism, and we boy, that bully we know.
Yeah.
Being out of integrity or just having no patience for talking about stuff that could, should, would, whatever, but doing the damn thing so we can do joy and get where we want to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find the October Arena Talks. It's the best one that's ever been put on. And listen to it. You got two great speakers who the real deal, have what we want: connection, purpose, giving gifts and talents, struggle, hardship, connected with the things that are important to us. For you and I, spirituality, family, financial success and progress, fun, being fit.
Yeah. I can sit here and I can own the fact that we've been told over and over again that was the best Arena Talks. And I can own it because it wasn't like it's the best Arena Talks because you were there, Hazel. It was the best Arena Talks because we showed up for everybody that was there, And so I don't take that compliment as like, you're so great, Hazel. I take that compliment as damn right it was good because I put effort and thought into not making it about me and what I could say that would help somebody else. And that's why I think it was so impactful. Even my husband told me it was good. And for him to say that is a big deal because he's not one to blow smoke.
For you and I to be able to reach the more analytical mind, the pro poker player type,
right?
Who it's about, can you back up to touch and reach and be able to connect with that broad audience. Those are two gifts that you and I have that we powerfully give.
Yeah. And I think something that I'm proud of that I can see that I've become, and something that I always see in you, is that there's so much love. There's so much love for what we're doing, for the clients that we work with, for the people that we work with, like staff, but also obviously those clients. Like, I have so much love for them, and that guides all of my action, right?
Capital L.
It does. And it's like such a beautiful thing. And like, I've been so shut off to showing love, shut off to feeling love. Maybe I felt like in order to be loved, it had to look a certain way. And through the growth that I've done this past year, like, love is love. And the more that I learn to love myself, I just can pour that into others.
We both felt that what was coming up for us to share was not about the ick and the muck and the slog so much.
Yeah.
It was about, hey, even when you get to this place or that place, or the thing in your head, you're telling you that once I'm there, the problems I have today won't be my problems. And to convey to anybody who's willing to listen that, hey, I've got the family, I've got the kids, I got the job, I got the free time, I've got the car, I've got the white picket fence, I've got the house, and guess what? Tomorrow, the cold water's still gonna be cold. Tomorrow, honesty's still gonna be honesty. There's still gonna be food or alcohol or a husband or communication or whatever it is. And to develop this deep, abiding self-love as a person in this day and age, hell yeah, Hazel. Good job.
Thanks.
Good job.
And it's interesting. I got this job thinking that my confidence and my like experience was putting me here, and I was,
And your beauty.
Yeah. And I was going to bring some value. And what working here did for me at the beginning.
Who knew?
Yeah.
This was not on my radar. How about you?
No, not at all.
I want to get in recovery.
Yeah. I mean, maybe deep down, like that's been my...
over a decade that either one of us even drank anything.
Right.
You're done.
And certainly working professionally, I've always felt like underqualified, right? I don't have the schooling or the education for it. But getting this job fucked me up, right? It fucked me up.
By the way, no qualifiers. That's the right, appropriate
Yeah.
way to express that feeling.
Yeah, it is for me. It fucked me up in the sense that I was like, just exposed every insecurity, every issue that I thought I had dealt with and worked on. It exposed it all. And I think it exposed it all because I really love this.
But no, you've done all the counseling.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
you're active with your faith and your family, and you're right with God. What?
Yeah, I've worked the steps. I've worked the steps over some painful shit over and over again. And I felt very good, like, okay, that's done. I'm good. And then I get this job, and here I am, like, here to help and guide other people. And I feel like
Kindergarten.
yeah,
Actually, like 7th grade.
yeah, yeah, more awkward than kindergarten. Yeah, I just felt like, what the fuck? And I mean, the reality is that I could have said, this is too hard. This is too much. This isn't really what I was looking for.
Oh, but you get
And I
said it in
could
such a way that was so much more educated or reasonable or rational.
Yeah. And instead, I was like, I've come to know myself so much better in working as part of this program. And what I felt was, holy shit, I don't even know who I am. How the hell can I show somebody else how to find that for them? But I also felt like, okay, I hate feeling this way. And I'm not a fucking quitter. So I'm not going to run away from this. I will lean in and I will figure it out, because if I can help no one else, at least I can work on myself. And for me, it's been the working on myself that has allowed me to be so much more effective as I work with clients.
Tell me more. Keep going.
Yeah, I just, I show up and I am a staff member, but I am also in the fight, right? Like, I struggle with that self-worth. I struggle so much with those limiting old beliefs that told me who I was not enough. And so I can sit there when I hear clients talking about that and I can say, me too. And this is what I've done. Or I can say, I can hear it in them before they even know it's there. And I can say, is this what you're feeling? Is this what it looks like? I know that. I know that pain. And I think what makes me effective in groups and as I work with people is just this desire to help people feel who they are.
Yeah.
Is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think I can do that because I have like fought for that so hard for myself.
It's right there. And then not feeling like you can grasp it, let alone going to that place where you've got this beautiful life and these beautiful kids and you're drinking.
Yeah.
What the?
Oh, I know.
And how do you, guess what? I don't care if it's meth or porn or codependence or soda or pie. We all know that place of, I'm ashamed of what I'm doing. I don't want to do it. I either don't know how to stop, can't stop. And I feel like if I share it or I actually do try and get some help and it's a painful experience where there's trauma around it, and then feeling boxed in that there's nowhere to go, and playing smaller so that you can actually try and at least control something or feel better or whatnot. But when you play smaller, it doesn't feel good either.
Yeah.
You and I, one of the gifts that resonates with both of us is being able to connect with our bodies and how vital it is to help somebody connect with their body and the emotions that you're feeling and wanting and kind of what's getting in the way. One thing that makes working with a recovery program, whether it's inpatient or maybe you start there or with, a program like ours where you're doing days of therapy and group work and you're living in a sober living home and whatnot, is that week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of being away from whatever was fucking up your life, your brain's able to start resetting. And you're able to start getting back to those values that, no, this is really important to me, to this relationship or being with these people. And you start feeling like you can do it. And you and I have always felt like we've known we're those people who can do it. And for so long, not feeling or understanding how. And now we've figured out how, and it is love. It really is. Figuring out simple practice of self-love that you can share or give or do with others around you. And now you're winning because you're not making it about you. You're making it about, hey, I see you. I see what you're doing. That's hard. Yeah, that is. And you're not minimizing yours or maximizing theirs. It's okay. Yep. Hard, sucks. Ouch. Yep. And now this is where we go. This is what we do. This is how we go after what we want.
Yeah, I think that it's about, I try not to ever put myself above any client, right? The fact that I get paid to be here and you don't means nothing to me. You know, it really doesn't. I'm on the same journey as you. And
So many people think they're at a job because they need it. You and I can speak for us. We don't need this job.
yeah, I did when I first started here. I needed it so bad because of our financial situation, and now I don't. And this job, my family kind of revolves around this job sometimes, right? Because it needs so much sometimes. It asks so much of my time and my energy, and sometimes the immediate needs here are more immediate than the needs of my family.
Yeah.
And that's
Hard.
real, and that's
I
hard.
hate that
And I
part.
can only do it because I have a husband who is like, this is what you are made for. We will do whatever we can as a family to allow you to do that. But this is what you are made for.
Well, and our kids, you both have kids in the young teenage, late area, and they're starting to be able to see, yeah, mom's gone, but we're involving, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
This is the effect it makes. And you know what? When your friends are talking to you about body parts or using naughty language, or they're trying to get you to take something that doesn't belong in your body,
Mm-hmm.
or how do you take things that are supposed to belong in your body in a way that is healthy? Oh man, I've said this to you lots, and we're here in part because our kids and their friends, they are going to need our skills. They're going to need us to know how to do this.
Yeah. And my kids are very much a part of my recovery world, right? My kids come sometimes to different activities that we have. We've had clients, involved in our lives.
Yoga dance parties.
Yes, they've been here for some of that. We've had graduated clients that have come and worked on our house with our contractor. They hear the recovery world. It's very much in our lives. And we actually just had these new friends over for dinner the other night, and we were talking about how to talk to our kids about addiction. They both come from really strong families in addiction, not in recovery, just in
entrenched.
Yes. And there's a lot of pain, and their kids see a lot of sadness, and so-and-so uncle whose life is falling apart, their kids see that. And I grew up with addiction in my life like smoke in the air. It was like, it was not my parents, it was their parents. It was like,
oh my,
this heavy fog in my family.
You were a fish, that's why you didn't notice the water.
What do you mean by that?
Well, so you're saying it was in the air. It wasn't, you didn't perceive it, but it was all around you the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Hazel, what an incredible, how much more pernicious is it then? If it's in your face,
Yeah.
Hey, here's some drugs, take them. Well, no. But if it's, you're not aware.
I wasn't, maybe though, I think I was so aware. Like, it was this thing in our family that my dad's mom died of alcoholism. His dad was an alcoholic. His stepmom was an alcoholic. My grandfather had been an alcoholic on my mom's side. That it was this oh my God, don't ever do this. It's the most dangerous, terrible, horrible thing you could
But all they ever talk is
do.
about the drinking, the alcohol,
Right.
not the
And
shame and not the
right.
codependence and not the
Not the reasons behind
anger.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, it was like,
Huh.
I think it almost led me to, well, what's this all about? What is this terrible, horrible thing that my parents are like, stay away or you'll die? I'm the kind of personality that's like, I bet I can do it. I bet I'm strong enough.
Which
I can
one
handle
was I
it.
not supposed to cross?
Yeah, this one, oh, don't touch the stove. It's hot. I think my hand can handle it,
Yep.
you know? And so I think that way of talking to us about it as kids growing up, for me was almost detrimental.
Did it work for your siblings?
Yeah, I mean, it worked for my sister, and maybe a lot of other things worked for her. It worked for her. She's never had a drink, a drop, anything. My brother is able to drink and be a normal person. For me, that was not the case, but I could also talk to my kids about addiction in the same way, right? I could pour that like fear and that horribleness on them, and they could be hearing the same message that I got. And instead, my kids see the life of recovery, and they see the pain, and they see the heartache and the loss and the destruction that happens in lives, but they also are surrounded by what doing the work looks like and the joy and the fullness that comes because of recovery. And so I want them to always have that balanced view of addiction, right? That there's the pain, but there's also some of the most beautiful people that come from it. Not that I want them to believe that you can only become great if you've had that struggle of addiction. I just want them to realize that struggle of any kind will lead to greatness if you let it. And I hope to God and I pray every day that they will not know the struggle of addiction, but they will know struggle. There is no doubt in my mind. And maybe it's an eating disorder, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's struggling with ADHD and how that makes them feel. Maybe it's just, I feel like I'm not good enough because people around me are telling me that. There will be struggle, just like there's struggle in all of our lives. But the fullness and the light and the beauty of who they can truly become will happen if they go through that. I want them to always have that. I want them to always remember that.
I love your perspective and attitude. And because what if your son, as a teenager, lost one of his vocal cords?
Yeah.
He's a singer. How does he recover from that? What if your daughter had some, pulls her Achilles tendon and can't play sports? How do you recover from that?
Yeah.
It's the same way. It's the same way as getting over an opiate or shutting down the porn or deciding to not be codependent and hold boundaries with somebody. It's the same work.
It's the same work. And I mean, that was our message before we started today was, this pain is not just unique to addiction. Like, my alcoholism was just the best way that I knew how to cope with what was underneath it all. And it started with, eating disorder. It went to men and attention and validation. It went to diet pills. It went to alcohol. It went to other drugs. It went to, just whatever I could do to fill it.
Getting right with Jesus, doing all the right things,
Right.
show up at church,
Yeah.
Dressing right. It goes either one way or the other. If it goes too far, it's getting the form, but not the power of what you're trying to do.
And so I think that's our message, Shay and I. We want you to hear that if your addiction doesn't look like my addiction, if you don't think you have a traditional addiction, but there's parts of your life that aren't working or that you feel are empty or you don't feel like you are fully who you are, this is the work. It's the same work. The work I do, the work I help clients do to overcome that addiction, I do zero work with any client about this is how you put down the drink. This is how you don't shoot meth. I do nothing around that.
Right?
Because it has nothing to do with that. The work that I do, the work I know you do, is about uncovering who you really are. And why has that person been buried? Who told you that you had to bury that? Who is that person really? Because that's who you really are. And I think you and I and the other coaches here, our focus is on unearthing that. And guess what? If you do that, you'll put down the drug, you'll put down the alcohol, you'll let go of the porn, you'll move past that relationship, you'll heal your identity of yourself because you'll come back to yourself.
And it's in the seeking is the find. The great thing is if you're going to go there with a coach at I Am Recovery, once we unearth it, guess what? We don't need to go anywhere. You're there. We are now being you.
Yeah.
And I, coming from a shame-driven alcoholic, I thought I was doing everything good, but I'm not feeling it experience that you and I had.
Yeah.
I always thought I had to get to this and that will be the payoff. And it felt good. It was great. And it's important. And those are all things that got us to where we are here and now. But the being doesn't matter if you're out of whatever your muck is for 30 days or 300. Today's the day. All that matters is who do we choose to be in the near present future? That's it.
And if you can't even see that and you don't even know who that is, just trust me because I see it. I see it in you.
And all we need you to do is want to want.
Yes.
I want to believe you, Hazel. And if you can give me that, we can work with it.
Absolutely. In AA, it's always like, do you have the willingness to be willing? Not, are you going to do this? Are you excited to do this? I just need you to have the willingness to want to go there. And I'll help you. I will help you. I will do.
You don't have to earn it.
Right.
You don't have to strive for it. It's not conditional.
Exactly. I just want you to be willing to do the work with me.
I'm going to circle back to something you said about how you see yourself becoming a more present and productive and badass parent is being able to speak to what your kids are going to experience as far as pain or pleasure or escape or indulgence or too much leisure time or too much work. You and I happen to have the same same higher power.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
My mom, who I would not be here without her creating space for me to experience what I was feeling and being. She's the one that said, look at that. She's the one that said, hey, read that book. Hey, maybe it's your brain chemistry. Hey, you know what? I'll help you here, here, and here. That'll give you the bandwidth to go and learn and do. She gave me one of my most treasured gifts. And she said, hey, you got to love people. You got to be, neighborly. You got to do unto others, all that kind of stuff. How can you know Jesus if you don't know pain? Jesus suffered more than anyone else. Deeply. He didn't get to go in shock.
Yeah.
He didn't actually get to numb out. He felt it. And this is what you need to know about whoever you are, where your higher power, trying to do recovery without allowing something to be bigger than you will get you around the block. It might get you a Happy Meal, but it's not going to get the real deal longevity and attract people that you can win with, that you can really do big stuff with.
Yeah.
Your higher power to be effective must invite you to suffer or give or sacrifice or allow part of you to die so you can become the person you need to become. And in that way, you're not just, higher power this and universe that and cosmos this and genie this. No, that is part of it. The other part, though, is the higher power asks you to be humble. And humbling is like cold water. It doesn't ever feel good.
Yeah.
You cannot know recovery or higher power or the joy without having a relationship with the suffering and the pain as well.
And to look at that suffering and that hard time as not a sign that you're doing something wrong.
Huge for anybody growing up in this day and age.
Yeah. And in this culture that we live in here in Utah, right? Pain is not a sign that I've done something wrong and I'm a bad person and I'm a failure. Pain is the human experience. And over this past year, my family has suffered a lot. We suffered financially. We suffered emotionally. Our faith suffered.
The stuff that for sure 10 years ago you said, oh, those will not be our problems.
Yeah. You not having a job for an entire year and having to have everybody around you help support you and pay your bills. That was not something that my husband and I would have ever thought. We were the people that helped other people, you know? And so it was so uncomfortable to be in this position that we were in. And for my husband, his journey was, I am so mad that this is happening to me that I am just going to be in that anger for a little bit. And I have no judgment on him in that. That is like, it was this grieving period, and that was how he was grieving the pain that we were going through.
This job gave you the space to love you, which gave you a capacity that you had never had before in this way to give to him.
Right.
Wow.
And what I have learned of suffering, and let's be honest, addiction is suffering, our negative self-beliefs is suffering. Sometimes we've suffered at the hands of other people. Sometimes just life throws hardship at us. I've come to know that it's in that suffering that I really find out who I am. And I can only find who I really am by, in the middle of that suffering, looking up. Who's there? I read this book over this past year that changed my life. And it was a Christian book, not a Mormon church book. It was just a Christian book. And I can't even remember. I randomly found it. It found me, some post on Facebook. And the book is called A Boat in the Middle of the Ocean. And it is about a husband and a wife, pastor, and he gets diagnosed with cancer, and all of a sudden their life's turned upside down. And over in the Bible, it talks about God uses water to throw chaos into our lives. And yet when we...
Wait, say that again. God uses water to throw
chaos into our lives. Look at all these scriptures in the Bible, these stories of the apostles or in the storm on this lake, and Jesus is asleep. Right?
Chaos and cleansing
comes.
Flooding and miracles.
Yeah. And like, again, if you're hearing this and you're like, I don't believe in God, cool. Listen to it for the story I'm telling. It doesn't have to be this thing.
It doesn't matter if it's the mountains or the rivers or a deer or the moon. Something has to be bigger than you.
Yeah.
Pick Mother Teresa. Heck.
Yeah.
Who's with that one?
Yeah, right. And so if God uses water to call me to him, that's where I'm going to find him. Right?
Was this before or after you did your first cold swim? Or around that time?
It was probably around that time. It might have been. Oh, that's so interesting.
Holy moly.
I never made that connection. Isn't that interesting?
That's about a year ago.
Yeah.
You said, oh, hell no. But it's something there for me.
Something about that cold dip.
And boom, that was a shift.
It was a huge shift for me. And I would go and I would do this cold dip and I would just cry. And I would go and I would do that cold dip when I knew my life was too much and I needed to go leave some of it in that water because I couldn't carry it anymore. And what I've learned is that it's in the suffering that I find my truest self. And so when I have clients that are suffering, right, we are all in suffering of some kind. that's when they can figure out who they really are. But you always have to look up. And whether it's you're looking at me as a coach who might be able to guide you in a way that you can't, or you're looking up to this higher power or this energy or this nature, we have to look up because that's when the calm happens, right? That's the calm. That's the calm we fight for when we do those cold dip. I get in that water. I can't breathe. My body is going into shock. I'm disoriented. I want to get out, right? Every part of me is like, I got to get out of here to survive. I've learned that the longer that I sit in it and I breathe through it and I remind myself, I'm supposed to be here right now. This is good for me. And then in that magical moment, I find my breath and I'm controlling it now. And I am just experiencing this moment for what it is. And I do, for me, in the water, I always leave something there.
Yeah, that's been so powerful for me too.
Has it? Tell me.
Mm-hmm. I'm the guy. I'm the guy who started telling people to do that.
Yeah, you did.
Because the higher power, the bigger thing, is meant to carry your load. It's meant to relieve you. You're hoarding stuff that's not serving you. You've watched that show on TV? Oh, how I would never let my house get like that. Well, if you're in a recovery program, you're a hoarder of something. And when you go leave it in the cold water or write in the morning pages or go on a hike and bury something or burn something bigger than you takes it. It can take it. The paper and the pen, it can handle it.
Right.
The cold water, guess what? Anything you want to put in there, it'll take it.
Yeah.
But me, we can only take so much.
Yeah.
And not only that, you can't be who you're supposed to be for your people if you're taking on stuff that you're not supposed to take on to.
So true. And you know, the thing, I love the cold water because I've used it with a couple of clients, and those have been the most beautiful,
Sacred.
Sacred.
And full disclosure, we also know that it isn't called to everybody. And in fact, that's how we figure out, is it called to you? Cool. If not, great. We'll
find something
There
else.
is 99 ways to win here.
Absolutely.
And if we don't know them, we will figure them out together with you.
Right. I think of all the clients that I've had.
Totally.
And I've cold dipped with 2 of them because it's been the right thing, right? And they felt it. And there is something spiritual and sacred that happens for me in that water. But you're right. I've had these breakthroughs with clients in a lot of other ways, but it always involves trust. It always involves discomfort. It always involves pain, but there's always a release, right? There's a release of that.
It is not a little bit either.
Yeah.
If water is able to wash away, and baptism is not just a church thing, but it's a real physical, metaphysical experience of renewal.
Yeah.
I have not yet met somebody who has gone and done a cold swim for, doesn't matter if it's 30 seconds or 3 minutes, whatever, who said, well, that really blew.
Right.
Well, that was like sucking a box of rocks.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, you guys are weird. It's always, whoa. It doesn't mean they always come back, or it doesn't matter. No, you always walk out thinking and feeling, oh, yeah. Yeah. Guess what? Humanity, until the last 100 years, has been taking and cleaning their bodies in cold water.
And for me, I know you do it, and I always am impressed, but I punk out in that cold shower. If I just try to do it in the cold shower, it's too easy for me to turn it warm. It's too easy for me to hop out. It's too easy. And so I'm always impressed that you can do that. For me, I have to go put myself in cold water. Then I can't just change the temperature.
I'm a jumper too. I don't want to just wade in either. I can't.
Totally.
I got to be able to jump and be in.
Exactly.
Hazel, do you know the only way it happens is it's not about me. It's because I know that week or over that, coming that Monday, I'm going to be sitting next to somebody and I'm going to tell them, you got to do hard things. And it's my joy buy-in. I know I'm going to see you. And guess what? We keep it real. That's where we get our power from. And you will know if I start fibbing, if I'm coasting, And it's not about always being in this on the bleeding edge either.
Right.
There are times now, especially you and I, we have matured around our reversion to the mean times that used to be profoundly depressive states.
Yeah.
Or withdrawal or shaming, or we've matured so much in that since we honor that, I'm able to go and do this little thing, because I know when I see you, you'll see I've got the joy or I don't have the joy. And that's not what, even what it's about, but all we have is today. And if my thing is joy, then that's how I buy in.
And I never want somebody to think that I'm asking them to do something that I'm not going to do. You know, my biggest thing is I'm not a fucking hypocrite. I'm not. Right? I struggle, you struggle. I fall, you fall. Like I'll be honest, if I'm, things that I'm working on, I'm falling short on, because I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to grow with you.
There's a fine line between a couple of these beliefs and behaviors, because you also don't put the pedal on the self put downs either anymore. Where before it was qualifiers, discounting, if then, maybe, could be. We don't make it characterological anymore.
Ooh, that's good.
We don't make it about our character anymore. It just is a thing. Just as hard as it is for you listening, it is as hard for you and I to know on days that I do my best. Am I doing my best?
Yeah.
Can I have done more? Should I try harder? And I've learned, doesn't ever go away. It can't.
Right, because we always want to strive, right?
Do you know what the chemical in your brain is that drives the striving or the seeking?
No.
I know, right?
What is it?
Dopamine. So if you just went and did an ultra marathon or a marathon or a 5K race, but it was a big deal for you, you may experience dysphoria. You may experience not feeling anything, don't care. It's not that you don't care. Your pleasure, pain balance, dopamine, is now just rebalancing.
Oh, interesting.
So you're seeking, you achieved the accomplishment, and then your body is going to seek being back balanced again. And so there's going to be a period of time where you don't feel anything. It's suffering. It's painful. Don't care. But you love me. I'm your husband. Yeah, just don't care. It's nothing personal. It's just, holy crap. It's you and I've learned recently, back in the tribes where we were hunting and gathering, if you are susceptible to addiction, alcohol, drugs, you were also that person who would never settle in the tribe and was always trying to find the best hunting grounds, the best place to plant, make sure that the community was doing the best. And now, in a time and era where I can go to the grocery store and buy all the dopamine like pleasure things that I want, I'm not even going to drugs, medications, any of that stuff. You look at the food, just food alone. That's why you're not feeling your life in part, is because you are hammering your dopamine pleasure center, which is also your seeker, which is why you're in group saying, I hate this place, don't want to be here. Why am I here? Because your chemistry is rebalancing.
That's interesting. That's a good thing to pay attention to, for sure.
And don't care. It doesn't matter if your drug is illegal, if you got it from your doctor, if you got it from your friend's doctor.
If you get it from the drive-thru at the soda place.
Perfect example.
Right.
Or a smartphone, or Netflix, or LinkedIn, or CNN. They all hit the same part of your brain. Twilight novels. So now that you and I are willing to call a spade, okay, hard's just hard. Happy's like, it's not about being happy. It's not about, being fair. It's about feeling good about you, and then giving your gifts and talents to bring up those around you and really and live. All we have is today. It's not written anywhere my kids get to be and grow up and be teenagers. They might be done at 15. I don't know. And when you live in that place, joy, aliveness, diminished anxiety, diminished depression, they live in your life.
Yeah, that's so true.